It's the last commercial before your show. If selling your home has been weighing on you, call Superior Home Buyers and get a no-obligation cash offer. SuperiorHomeBuyers.com. We make it easy. Now back to your show.
Clippers, Nuggets, Sunday at 6:30 on KTLA 5.
Good morning, I'm Frank Buckley. LA County leaders considering emergency action amid ongoing ICE raids. We'll explain.
Good morning, I'm Trevor Shirley live in Washington. The IRS has furloughed nearly half of its workforce. Coming up, I'll explain what kind of an impact that could have on you, especially if you've qualified for an extension to file your tax returns.
And good morning, I'm Megan Tellis. Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of a U.S.-backed peace deal coming up. What President Donald Trump just said in a meeting about the release of all Israeli hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners.
Good morning, I'm Jessica Holmes. Despite the rising cost of just about everything, a new report suggests shoppers are preparing to splurge this holiday season. We'll explain.
Hey there, everybody. Good morning. I'm Melvin Robert. The Spice Girls reunite. We'll tell you where and when and all the details in just a little bit.
Things are going to be changing as the afternoon moves into the evening. We could get some thunderstorms, especially for the Inland Empire, our local mountains, Orange County, down into even San Diego County. The further north you go, the less chance of rain in Ventura County. We're going to be looking pretty good. Coastal, 73, chance of thunderstorms. Same thing for downtown Los Angeles. San Fernando Valley, mostly clear skies. They might see some action overnight. Orange County Inland, as I said, 81, chance of those thunderstorms. Inland Empire, same story. High desert, same story. Warm temperatures, though, because this system is coming up from the south, as opposed to systems coming from the north, which will be happening all winter long. That's it. Jessica, back to you.
Mark, thank you. A federal judge in Orlando has ordered the suspect accused of intentionally starting a fire that led to January's Palisades fire to be jailed without bond. 29-year-old Jonathan Rinderneck was arrested Tuesday in Florida, where he now lives. He is expected to be transferred to LA in the coming weeks for his arraignment. Federal prosecutors say the former Uber driver started a small brush fire near Skullhead Trail on New Year's Day that later reignited amid heavy winds on January 7th.
The fire was a holdover fire, meaning it was deeply seated in dense vegetation and roots and continued to burn undetected until catastrophic weather ensued, resulting in the Palisades fire.
The criminal complaint shows a collection of digital evidence links him to the fire, including an Uber drop-off. ChatGPT created images of people running from burning cities and his obsession with a rap song about arson. However, prosecutors did not reveal a motive for setting the initial fire. 12 people died in the Palisades fire. Thousands of homes and structures burned. Rinderneck faces up to 20 years in prison if convicted.
Today, the U.S. Senate will attempt to end the government shutdown. That effort not likely to succeed. And as the shutdown continues, the IRS has started to furlough nearly half of its workforce. KTLA's Trevor Shirley live in Washington with more on that. Trevor, good morning.
Frank, good morning to you as well. In fact, the Senate just voted to try to end the shutdown. That vote did not succeed, as was expected. In the meantime, the IRS furloughs are also expected to impact services across the board at that agency. As of Wednesday, the IRS has furloughed nearly half its workforce. Right now, just under 40,000 employees remain working. That's just over 53% of all IRS employees. It's unclear which departments, though, remain working or which employees are still on the job. Officials with the union that represents IRS employees says taxpayers should expect increased wait times, backlogs, and delays. The IRS and the White House did not comment on the furloughs. A notice sent to furloughed IRS workers say they will get back pay, though, once the shutdown ends. That's notable since the White House says not all federal workers should be entitled to get back pay. Already, the IRS's payroll numbers were down. Earlier this year, the agency faced major layoffs and early retirement buyouts orchestrated by Elon Musk and his Doge team. The IRS lost about 25,000 employees because of that process. In the meantime, lawmakers on Capitol Hill remain deadlocked with no end in sight to the shutdown. Democrats say they won't reopen the government until Republicans negotiate an extension of health care tax credits that are set to expire later this year. Republicans, for their part, say they want to reopen the government and then talk about health care.
We just need a stopgap measure to give us a little more time to get the job of Congress done. They refuse to do it because they're playing politics, and real Americans are paying the price for it.
Democrats want to reopen the government right away. We want to have a serious negotiation to fix health care so that people can see their costs go down.
Now, for people who were granted an extension, a 6-month extension to file their tax returns, that deadline is next week, October 15th. It also applies to LA residents who got an extension because of the wildfires. That deadline is still in place. The downside, though, officials say, is that tax refunds will be delayed because of the shutdown. That's the latest here in Washington. We'll send it back to you guys in LA.
Trevor, thank you. The LA County Board of Supervisors considering a state of emergency in response to recent immigration raids. A state of emergency would be a first step before approving an eviction moratorium, which would protect households who have lost income due to immigration enforcement. Tenants would not be evicted for unpaid rent. They would still owe back rent once the moratorium expires. The board expected to vote on the plan on October 14th.
Newly surfaced video out of Chicago shows federal agents shooting a Presbyterian minister in the head with what appears to be a pepper ball projectile. I want to warn you, the video is upsetting. That man is Reverend David Black. He had gathered with other protesters outside of an ICE processing center in a Chicago suburb when a federal agent who was positioned on the roof shot a pepper ball in his direction, hitting him in the head. The ACLU says Pastor Black is now part of a lawsuit alleging the government engaged in illegal and brutal suppression of free speech rights. The incident comes amid heightened federal immigration enforcement in the Chicago area, which has led to tense demonstrations outside of the ICE facility.
Now at 10, Israel cabinet is meeting at this hour to discuss ceasefire plans in Gaza. Hamas and Israel have agreed to the first phase of a U.S. plan to end the fighting in Gaza. Hamas says it will free the hostages in exchange for the release of Palestinian prisoners held by Israel. KTLA's Megan Tellis live in the newsroom now with more on that for us. Megan, good morning.
Jessica, good morning. President Trump's cabinet is meeting this morning. He commented on the historic U.S.-backed Israel-Hamas deal and the return of hostages as early as next week.
Very importantly, the hostages are coming back. As you know, they consider them hostages. They talk about them as hostages, but there are approximately 28 dead people, mostly young, mostly men. The one woman talked about her baby. Her baby's 25 years old, but you know, to her, it's her baby, and we're bringing them home. It's really peace in the Middle East.
Meantime, Israel's cabinet will meet later today. We just got word that that meeting has been pushed back ahead of a vote on the peace plan with Hamas. Now, according to an Israeli cabinet spokesperson, a ceasefire in Gaza will only begin in phases within 24 hours of Israeli cabinet approval. Again, we'll keep you updated when that approval, if it does happen. Now, the United States brokered this deal, which was announced yesterday. Palestinians celebrated in the streets of Gaza this morning. The celebrations took place after President Trump announced that Hamas and Israel had agreed to the first phase of the U.S.-led peace plan. Both sides agreed to pause fighting in Gaza so that the remaining hostages can be freed. Now, Hamas says it will release all 20 living hostages in a matter of days, plus, as President Trump mentioned moments ago, the bodies of 28 others. Now, in exchange, Israel says it will release nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. The agreement also calls for Hamas to disarm and abandon any future role in governing Gaza. The ceasefire and hostage exchange may begin as early as this weekend. While many hostage families are celebrating, others are anxious, uncertain if their family member will be returned dead or alive.
It's excitement, anticipation, but also anxiety because the president did call out for the release of the 48 hostages, but Hamas have said that there are some that they do not know how to find. So there's still that piece of anxiety to know that indeed my son will be one of those that will be coming out.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said yesterday, with the approval of the first phase of the plan, all our hostages will be brought home. This is a diplomatic success and national and moral victory for the state of Israel. Hamas also out with a statement saying, in part, that the agreement provides for an end to the war in Gaza, the withdrawal of the occupation forces, the entry of humanitarian aid, and a prisoner exchange. Now, here is a live picture from Gaza tonight over there, where it is now nighttime in the Middle East. There are some parts of President Trump's plan that remain uncertain today. It's unclear whether Hamas will disarm and who will govern Gaza now. Still, both sides closer to ending this 2-year-old war than they have ever been. And now let's go over to Israel. A live look there, a crowded scene at Hostages Square in Tel Aviv. During the celebration there last night, one man talked about President Trump receiving the Nobel Peace Prize for his involvement with this peace deal.
I want to thank President Trump for bringing this amazing victory. That's the name for it. That's a victory. He deserves a Nobel Prize for this, a Nobel Peace Prize for bringing this amazing deal. And we're waiting for the next few days to see the hostages actually coming back alive. That'd be, I think, the happiest days that we've had, at least since October 7th.
Now, we will find out soon enough if President Trump does in fact receive that Nobel Peace Prize, as this year's recipient will be announced tomorrow in Norway. And speaking of the president, according to reports out this morning,